In my number of years as a failed Let's Player recycled as a strategy game reviewer, I have never met such an obscure title than Fast Food Tycoon 2, also colloquially known as Pizza Connection 2 in Euro, or Pizza Tycoon 2, or whatever you want to call it, it doesn't really matter. The game is a pizza parlor management game from a small development studio from Germany called Software 2000, who went bankrupt right after the game release, which is a pretty damn good indication as to what we're about to tackle here. There is a storyline to the game, but it's quite simple. You'll move from city to city and complete a list of objectives, whether it is to create the perfect pizza recipe for a specific demographic, or accumulate a set amount of cash, or build a dozen restaurants. You will have a pleasing variety to play. The game plays out like a generic Tycoon of the Millennium turnaround. You have a couple of things to manage, but it always stays at a quite superfluous level. The first thing is managing a fast food restaurant, a pizzeria of course. You have to build it from scratch, as well as the supply stores and headquarters. The pizza parlors themselves are cool and reminiscent of something akin to The Sims, but the control to place the items are extremely infuriating, although this infuriation is slightly solved by the presence of architects that can set up the shop for you for a small price. The rest of the buildings are inaccessible but still cover a core functionality to the game. You have to craft your own pizza from scratch too, and each of them gives you a certain rating from specific demographic groups. You can use some preset recipe or get a chef to design the perfect ones for you. But the best part is designing your own, and the clunkiest interface ever. For example, here are two examples of my own concoction. The Supreme Semen Pizza. Yarr! I don't know why, but no one wants to buy it. Might be something about the name. And my second creation, the Aussie Special. What cunt? Are you afraid of eating snakes and kangaroos? I don't think my accent is that great, but yes, you can put snakes and kangaroos onto your pizza. A quite pleasing variety. Now we will talk about the somewhat official real title of the game, Pizza Connection. A quick googling gives us an insightful outlook on the inspiration of this title. The trial centered on a mafia-run enterprise that distributed vast quantities of heroin and cocaine in the United States, and then laundered cash before sending it back to the suppliers in Sicily. The US defendants utilized a number of independently owned pizza parlors as fronts for narcotic sales and collections, hence the name Pizza Connection. Evidences at the trial proved that the enterprise shipped no less than 1.6 billion of US dollar between 1975 and April 1984. The Pizza Connection trial stands as the longest criminal jury trial in the federal courts. The trial began on September 30th, 1985, and ended with the conviction of all but one of the 22 defendants on March 2, 1987. Even though this is pretty old, I am sure it had an impact on the name of the game in the United States. In 2001, at release, barely 14 years after the end of the trial, it was named Fast Food Tycoon 2, but the subsequent release on GOG was named Pizza Tycoon 2 in 2016, while the Steam version from 2017 was backed up as Pizza Connection 2. The graphics though are decent for a 2001 game. I was able to successfully run it on a modern machine, but it had been quite a whole lot of work to get it emulated as on a classic hardware. The graphics are decent, but far from anything of high value. The worst part of it all is the clunky interface that is so hard to click. And there is also a somewhat extremely reliable frame drop whenever there's no animation playing. Yeah, you heard that right. There are frame drops when there are no animation. Quite counterintuitive, isn't it? but I don't have any other qualm directed at graphics of this title and find the comic style mix to the grime dark criminal world to be somewhat refreshing take on management games. The music score of this game is acceptable. You have a mix of oldies playing in the background, enough to spice up the atmosphere without becoming dreadingly annoying. But the sound effects, including the speech of the narrator, are somewhat unbearable and get annoying. Especially during the tutorial when the narrator keeps repeating what to do while you are literally unable to do so due to extremely clunky interface that lags out. Pizza Connection 2, or Pizza Tycoon 2, or Fast Food Tycoon 2 is a terrible game that did not pass the test of time. Yet it's still an interesting one to get for a quick play at creating funky pizzas and running a mob empire dealing in pizza rather than heroin and cocaine. The poor performance of the game does lead me to question whether it should even have been re-released, as it affects the total quality of the title in a negative light for any and all whom would have played the title only as a nostalgic injection of a long gone past. The game we have today is selling for the hourly price of a minimum wage field worker of Oklahoma, which is definitely too expensive for its own good. Buy it on sale for an obscure curiosity of a time anyone could have made a game and re-release it 1.5 decades later, or just completely pass it up. I am sure you will get the same enjoyment in the end after all. Hopefully you've enjoyed this review, and if you find it helpful, make sure to subscribe for more. Thanks for watching and see you next time.